Okay, so consider this question, factorize this polynomial. Now from what we've learned in junior forms, factorization pretty much uses cross method, identity, and we're taking out common factors to begin with. But we can't do any of those because we have a x cubed term right here. So we can't use any of those methods in junior form. So we have to use factor theorem. So how do we make use of that? So we let f of x be that polynomial. So we're trying to figure out a number that put into the x so that f of x will give you a 0. In this case, if we successfully got that number, then we can successfully obtain the first factor to factorize this thing, and then we could follow it with a long division. So how do we find out that factor? Okay, so well, it's all about trial and error. So there are many combinations. Let's look at the very first coefficient of the highest power. So we have 1x, we have 3x. Okay, but we could also need to look at this last term, that is the constant, and what are the factors. So we have positive 1, negative 1, positive 2, negative 2, positive 4, negative 4, positive 8, and negative 8. Okay, and what we do is we pair up each of these here. So for example, this pairs up with this would give us the factor of this one, and this would be x minus 1, this would be x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 4, x minus 4, etc. Okay, of course we also have 3x plus 1, 3x minus 1, 3x plus 2, 3x minus 2, etc. Okay, so let's look at the first one here. Okay, if x plus 1 is the correct factor, we will have to use x equals to negative 1, right? And likewise, if x minus 1 is a correct factor, then we will use x equals to positive 1, etc. So, and then we will put all these numbers into f of x and see which one gives a 0. Okay, so let's continue. So f of negative 1 actually equals to this, which unfortunately doesn't equal to 0. So this one is no good, and then we will check the next one. So x equals to 1. So f of 1, this, but unfortunately it still does not equal to 0. So this one is no good. So we will keep trying. So this one's negative 2, 2. We keep trying until we found the one that gives 0, right? So now if we try the third one, when x equals to negative 2, f of negative 2 actually gives us a 0 here. Okay, so this one is good. So therefore, x plus 2 is a factor of f of x. Now notice that, yes, you have to keep trying until you found the right one, but you start with the easier ones here, right? You don't want to try these because these are fractions, right? And also there's actually more than one answer, okay? But it's just that x equals to negative 2 is the easiest one so far. Okay, now what? The hardest part is done. We have successfully found one of the factors here, and because it's a power of 1 factor, so if you use long division to divide the original question, the cube, and you will end up with a quadratic, which is good because we have already learned from junior form to factorize a quadratic expression, right? So let's work this out. Three x cubed plus 6x squared. So minus here. So I will have negative 11. So that is negative 11x. Negative 22x. And that gives us negative is positive. So negative 26 plus 22. That is negative 4x minus 8. Negative 4, I end up with this. Now notice that if you end up with some kind of remainder, that means something must be wrong, okay? It should give no remainder. Okay, so use a quotient. And we also know to factorize this in using cross method. And the answer would be this.